1. Kim Marie Laro. Kim was last seen on the evening of June 8, 1981. She had recently moved from her father's home on Eggert Road in Dundee, Michigan to her mother's residence on Beaufort Drive in Canton. She was in Canton for only about a week when she vanished. She was last seen at the ice cream parlor near Sheldon Road and Ann Arbor Road. Kim's best friend worked there, and the girls made plans to meet at Haggerty Field in Hines Park that night. She never arrived at the park and has never been heard from again. She wasn't reported missing for several days, and her mother refused to cooperate with the investigation. On that summer day, Kim left her mother's home and visited a friend at an ice cream shop on Sheldon Road. Some reports state it was a Stroh's, others state it was a Baskin-Robbins. She may have taken a sweater to her friend. While there, Kim and her friend made plans to meet later, possibly with other friends, at Haggerty Field in Hines Park, a known party spot for teens at the time. She left the ice cream store and vanished. It is unknown whether she intended to go directly to the park or if she planned to go home first. News reports state that she was using drugs and ran with a party crowd at the time. In spite of her rebellious phase, she did not have any major issues in her life, and it is not believed that she would have stayed away this long had she run away. Kim's case was not actively investigated for an extremely long time after her disappearance, due to the fact that she was presumed to be a runaway. It was only in recent years that a cousin, who also happened to be a police officer, was troubled by the fact that nobody in the family seemed to care, and convinced Canton police to reopen the case. I don't have much to add in the way of information, but a couple things are troubling. She apparently had a friend who worked at the ice cream parlor, as well as other friends who were heavy partiers. Where did she meet these people? Being that she had only lived in Canton for a week, she hadn't even had an opportunity to attend school in her new city, which might have explained having made friends in her age range quickly. Aside from Kim's cousin, and a half-sister, who seemed genuinely interested in learning what happened to Kim, there seems to be silence from those who knew her. Why? Her father is deceased, so that is understandable. Her mother, according to multiple news outlets, has refused to cooperate with the investigation since the onset, and continues to refuse to provide a DNA sample so that she may be identified if her remains are found. The cousin, when inquiring of Kim's mother, was told to drop this. And her friends, the one who worked at the ice cream parlor, as well as the ones she was supposed to meet later that night, haven't seen a word from them. Does anyone know who her friends were? Have they been questioned at all? Is it for certain that she never arrived at Hines Park? There has been plenty of speculation that Kim's mother may have harmed her, although I honestly do not think that is the case. It's very hard to imagine what it would be like for a parent of a missing child, but while most do everything imaginable to try to find their missing son or daughter, I can see how some just might not be able to deal with it. It seems like there are pieces of this puzzle missing, that several people out there have. I hope someone can come forward. This girl has been missing for 36 years now. 2. James Hepworth. The wife of James Hepworth, a man who went missing nearly 8 months ago, says state police have reason to believe his body was found. Amanda Hepworth says Michigan State Police found a body near the Wet Red Pine in Wexford County Tuesday afternoon, about a mile away from where James' vehicle was found. A handbag belonging to him was found the previous weekend nearby. Amanda says troopers have contacted her about the remains, and based on what they reported to her, she believes the body to belong to James. Troopers wouldn't tell her with certainty the body belongs to James pending an autopsy. It's bittersweet, Amanda says. We don't have to wonder anymore. The Hepworths have 8 kids. Amanda says their youngest children have been taking their father's disappearance the hardest. A family in Oceana County is finally getting some closure after a father of 8 went missing last summer. James Hepworth was last seen leaving his job in Ludington on August 1. His van was found 4 days later in rural Wexford County. This week, police found human remains not far from where his truck was found. While investigators are still waiting on DNA to identify the body, the family says there's no doubt it's their dad. The Hepworth family has been waiting 8 months for answers. Now that they're getting some closure, they say all of the feelings from when he first went missing have come back. Police still haven't confirmed that the body found is Hepworth, but clothing and a gun belonging to James were found near the body. His wife Amanda Hepworth says, Amanda and her children are adjusting to a new normal after her husband disappeared. "For 8 months we went almost every single day wondering if James was alive," said Amanda. "We didn't know if he was gone, if he had passed, if he was suffering somewhere or what was going on. You pretty much get to a point where you accept that he's likely gone, but then you worry if you're ever going to know." On Tuesday, Michigan State Police found a body near the wet red pine in Wexford County, about a mile from where his van was found last summer. Amanda says James had suffered from depression and believes he took his own life. "The officer told us tentatively that they had found James, that the clothing was a match and some other things," said Amanda. "He said they needed to photograph and secure the area. It's an area that had been looked at on Tuesday. It's one of several searches that have been conducted over the past several months. It's a relief, but it's the same pain all over again from back in August," said 15-year-old Michaela Hepworth, James' daughter. The family says the hardest part is letting go of the hope they've been holding on to for so long. "Once they said they found human remains, that hope is gone," said Amanda. "As the mom, I see their heart aches and you want to take that pain away. There's so many times I wanted to give up looking for James, but I knew I had to bring him home. I need my kids to know where their dad is." Now, the family is planning a funeral. They are hoping to raise money with help from the community for a proper burial. "We needed to bring him home," said Amanda. "Now we get to bring him home." The family says they're going to have a funeral for James in a few months once police identify the body. They're going to leave some of his ashes at Ludington State Park, an area where he loved to hike. 3. Christian Rowe and Olivia Keene, an Auburn 15-year-old, missing for nearly a month, called his parents Tuesday night, asking them to come get him in Jacksonville, Florida. Christian Chris Rowe was last seen Wednesday, October 15th. Police have said Rowe and 14-year-old Midland girl Olivia Keene ran away together and took Olivia's family's dark gray or silver 2002 Dodge Ram pickup truck with Michigan license plate number WLP50. "I'm exhausted, I'm nervous," said Christian's mother, Carrie Roloff-Rimbowise, who was on her way to pick him up, along with her husband Joe Loff-Rimbowise, and Christian's father, Jay Rowe. Olivia Keene has not yet been found, according to Roloff-Rimbowise. Christian told family that he was no longer with her. Olivia's mother, Katrina Keene, said she is concerned and scared for her daughter, but hopes she decides to return home. "We can get through this together," Keene addressed to her daughter. "Sometimes, things seem worse than they really are. Even less will happen if she decides on her own to come home. The whole town will celebrate your coming home safely and we all will finally breathe a sigh of relief." Keene is also operating a Facebook page entitled Finding Olivia Keene and Christian Chris Rowe, which has 1,036 likes as of November 12. Keene said she is encouraging visitors to submit photos of her daughter with recently dyed black hair. Roloff-Rimbowise said that she has communicated Christian's predicament to Keene. "However, my heart just breaks for her, because I know she doesn't have that same relief I do," Roloff-Rimbowise said. Midland Police Sergeant Mike Sokol, who has been the main media contact in the case, said he was aware Christian's parents were traveling to meet him. He said once contact is made with Christian, officials hope the teen can lead them to Olivia. In the past 27 days, Roloff-Rimbowise said her world has been upended by her son's absence. "No words are able to describe how horrible it's been," she said. "To go from not being able to eat, breathe, or sleep, to being so sick over what could be happening, to being so mad you want to scream." The three parents were traveling through North Carolina's Smoky Mountains at about 8:15 a.m. on Wednesday, November 12. Jay Rowe received the call from his son about 10 p.m. Tuesday, and the parents were on the road by 10:30 p.m., Roloff-Rimbowise said. He said he was safe, that he'd hurt his ankle, and that he was no longer with Olivia. Roloff-Rimbowise said he borrowed some lady's phone on the road so he could call and say he wanted to come home. "I just have a huge relief, of just knowing he's alive and okay, and that he wants to come home," she continued. "I'm nervous for what will happen when we get him back." Roloff-Rimbowise said she did not speak with her son herself, and that the plan is for them to meet up with him in Jacksonville on Thursday. She said he has never run away in the past. "I don't believe he intended to leave that day," she said, adding that Olivia emptied her school locker and took 2 suitcases, while Christian just left with the clothes on his back. She added that Olivia and Christian were not a couple, but he had broken up with a girlfriend a short time before he disappeared and was depressed as a result. She said that, as far as she knows, the teens don't have relatives or friends in Jacksonville. "In my mind, I can't believe a 14 and a 15-year-old could provide for a month without somebody helping them," she said. Both Bay County teens have been found in Jacksonville, Florida, nearly a month after they disappeared. Christian Chris Rowe, 15 of Auburn, and Olivia Keene, 14 of Midland, were located in Jacksonville about 1 p.m. Thursday, November 13th, said Bay County Undersheriff Troy Cunningham. They both were taken into police custody there. Christian's mother, Carrie Roloff Rimboise, her husband Joe Loff Rimboise, and Christian's father, Jay Rowe, left for Jacksonville on Tuesday night after receiving a call from Christian asking them to come get him. He had said at the time he was no longer with Olivia, but authorities and his parents discovered Thursday that they still were together. "It was crazy," said Roloff Rimboise as they drove north near the Florida-Georgia border at about 4:25 p.m. Thursday. "We were walking up and down every road downtown, handing out flyers to every single person. People kept telling us where to go and they were about 2 blocks from us." Christian called his dad's cell phone and said he was with police. After a couple of hours, the police released Christian into his parents' care, Roloff Rimboise said. The parents kept searching the area for Olivia, with Joe Loff Rimboise eventually spotting her walking. She was taken into police custody, where she remains, Cunningham said. The undersheriff added he didn't know if any criminal charges were forthcoming. The teens disappeared Wednesday, October 15th. Police have said they took Olivia's family's 2002 Dodge Ram pickup truck with Michigan license plate number WLP50. Roloff Rimboise said that Christian and Olivia were living out of the truck in Florida for about 3 weeks. "I'm just happy this is all over now," Roloff Rimboise said. The Times was unable to reach Olivia's mother, Katrina Keene. Olivia had been on probation prior to her disappearance and severed an electronic tether before leaving, police have said. 4. Brooklyn Giddens. The frantic search for a missing 13-year-old in Utah came to a close overnight, after police found the teenager who disappeared with no cell phone, shoes or even a coat at a local Walmart. But what looks like a case of a teen runaway is being called suspicious by police. Brooklyn Giddens' family said the young girl went to bed Tuesday night wearing her pajamas. When they awoke, she was gone, and even her trademark eyeglasses were left behind. She contacted her family late Thursday night. Lieutenant Justin Hoyle of Salt Lake Unified Police told UpNews.com that she is safe at home now. "We believe that she did leave her house on Tuesday evening, and somebody picked her up and harbored her for the last 2.5 days. We're going to investigate," he said. "She's 13 years old, and for someone to hold her is wrong. We'll do everything to find the person and bring that person to justice." Brooklyn was unharmed and was still wearing her gray t-shirt and black pajama pants. She had no shoes or coat, and was not wearing her glasses. Brooklyn called her grandmother about 11:30 p.m. and told her that she was at the Walmart in South Jordan, Salt Lake police said. Her grandmother then called Utah Police Department. "We responded to the Walmart and located Brooklyn. The disappearance is suspicious, and we are still investigating where she went and who she was with." Police say there were no signs of forced entry in her home outside Salt Lake City, and none of the straight-A students' friends had heard from her after she vanished. "There are elements of this case that are extremely concerning. We are hopeful that, however, that this is simply a runaway," police said Thursday. Brooklyn has gone missing before. Her family says she ran away last summer, but soon returned. Nearly 600 volunteers, dressed for the cold, showed up at a Mormon meeting house Thursday to help search for a 13-year-old Utah girl who disappeared without her shoes, coat or cell phone. There were no signs of forced entry at the Harriman home where Brooklyn Giddens was last seen at bedtime Tuesday, said Unified Police Lieutenant Justin Hoyle. "She has run away once before," Hoyle said, describing an incident 4 or 5 months ago. "But one of the big concerns is that she left without her stuff. The possibility that she left the area in a car or bus has not been ruled out, but detectives have no indication of that." Authorities became concerned after they spoke with a list of friends given to them by the family, and all of them said they didn't know where she was, Hoyle said. Authorities were especially concerned because of an approaching cold front, with temperatures expected to stay below freezing for days. The National Weather Service is predicting 3–5 inches of snow in Harriman Thursday night. Giddens, described as 5 feet tall and 115 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes, was last seen wearing a t-shirt and black pajama pants with an image of a white Scotty dog, police said. On Wednesday, a search helicopter and dog teams were dispatched, and police let residents know of the situation. Police were dividing volunteers into teams to cover the area in a grid pattern Thursday. The 500 to 600 volunteers were broken into 50 teams. They've already canvassed the immediate area surrounding Giddens' house, and were expanding the search area Thursday afternoon, Hoyle said. Authorities will pull volunteers off the search once it gets dark or the snowstorm hits, whatever comes first, he said. Harriman is a Salt Lake City suburb located about 18 miles southwest of downtown. Investigators were interviewing friends and acquaintances with the hope of learning more about the disappearance. They've received numerous tips about her whereabouts, but none has panned out. We're hoping for a good outcome, Hoyle said. Salt Lake County Sheriff Jim Winder told the Deseret News that the possibility that she left the area in a car or bus has not been ruled out, but detectives have no indication of that. Authorities became concerned after they spoke with a list of friends given to them by the family, and all of them said they didn't know where she was, Hoyle said. Authorities were especially concerned because of an approaching cold front, with temperatures expected to stay below freezing for days. The National Weather Service is predicting 3–5 inches of snow in Harriman Thursday night. Giddens, described as 5 feet tall and 115 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes, was last seen wearing a t-shirt and black pajama pants with an image of a white Scotty dog, police said. On Wednesday, a search helicopter and dog teams were dispatched, and police let residents know of the situation. Police were dividing volunteers into teams to cover the area in a grid pattern Thursday. The 500 to 600 volunteers were broken into 50 teams. They've already canvassed the immediate area surrounding Giddens' house and were expanding the search area Thursday afternoon, Hoyle said. Authorities will pull volunteers off the search once it gets dark or the snowstorm hits, whatever comes first, he said. Harriman is a Salt Lake City suburb located about 18 miles southwest of downtown. Investigators were interviewing friends and acquaintances with the hope of learning more about the disappearance. They've received numerous tips about her whereabouts, but none has panned out. 5. Perry Cohen. Investigators with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement say the mother of one of 2 teen boys, who disappeared during a fishing trip nearly 2 years ago, showed an egregious lapse of judgment and failure to exercise due care. In a newly released report obtained by People, the FDLE says the actions, or lack thereof, of Carlson Carly Black, mother of 14-year-old Austin Stefanos, had the effect of culminating in the disappearance of both boys who are now believed to have perished. Austin and his friend Perry Cohen, also 14, vanished into the waters off South Florida's Jupiter Inlet on July 24, 2015. Investigators found probable cause that Black violated Florida State Statute 827.03, which governs abuse, aggravated abuse and neglect of a child. Top factors include evidence that Black allowed her son and Perry to travel offshore in Austin's minimally equipped 19-foot 1978 Seacraft, knowing that the boat lacked basic safety devices. The report says Black also knew Perry's parents forbade him to go offshore without an adult, waited more than 2 hours to notify Cohen's parents that the boys were missing, and failed to notify emergency or law enforcement agencies. The last known communication from either of the boys occurred at 11:24 on the morning of their disappearance, when Austin texted Black and his father, Blue Stefanos, Black's ex-husband. "What's up? I am checking in. I'm just out here fishing," the text read. Records show Black testified that around 2 o'clock, she had become aware of a quick summer storm that rolled in fast and was fierce. Realizing that Austin hadn't checked in again, she began calling and texting her son, as well as Diane Stefanos, Black's ex-mother-in-law and Austin's grandmother, whose home the boys visited to pick up tackle and supplies earlier that morning. However, records show that it wasn't until 3:05 p.m. that she notified her ex-husband that she'd been unable to reach Austin. "Call me buddy," Blue texted to Austin after hearing from Black. Then again a few minutes later, "Hey buddy, got me and your mom really worried about you. Please call immediately or text back." With no response, Blue Stefanos set out on his own boat to search for the boys himself. It wasn't until 4:12 p.m. that Black called Perry's mother, Pamela Cohen, to let her know that the boys were missing. It was Pamela's husband and Perry's de facto stepfather, Nick Korniloff, who immediately called 911. Black's call to Pamela came over 2 hours after they knew or should have known that the boys were in imminent danger, investigators wrote, adding that it was Korniloff's call that prompted the massive, multi-agency search and rescue operation that made headlines worldwide. When reached by People, Pamela Cohen and Nick Korniloff declined to comment yet, saying only that they needed time to process the latest news. The Stefanos and Black families did not respond to calls seeking comment. However, in an interview with investigators, Korniloff emphatically reiterated his sincere belief that critical hours were lost due to the unexplainable delay in initiating an aggressive, coordinated and effective search and rescue operation soon after the storm. The report reads, "He is convinced that this fact critically altered the possibilities of rescuing the boys while the opportunity still existed." Investigators write that the boat, while by all accounts fundamentally sound, was not equipped with any electronic or communications equipment, such as VHF radio, GPS or a perp, which would have made a successful rescue infinitely more probable. The report pointedly adds that Black and her husband, Bubba Black, own and manage Jupiter's Grand Slam sport fishing supply, which means they likely had full knowledge of and access to marine safety and communications equipment. Plus, family members knew that their boys had narrowly avoided being caught in a storm while fishing on the same boat the previous day. Still, FDLE officials say Black does not yet face criminal charges. Assistant State Attorney Greg Kritos concluded that, despite strong indication of poor judgment, investigators found insufficient proof to satisfy statutory language and applicable case law relating to Florida's child neglect statute. Specifically, he says that boating on the open seas is not an inherently dangerous activity, which prosecutors consider a critical component in levying criminal charges of child neglect. As it stands now, investigators have requested that the case be officially closed. However, should state officials choose to continue the case, investigators say Florida's state climatologist David Ziridan is prepared to produce a comprehensive report detailing potentially contributing factors of the storm, and that subject matter experts with the U.S. Coast Guard or St. Petersburg's Eckerd College search and rescue team could provide expert testimony as to the effect that a delayed overdue vessel report could have on the statistical probability of a search and rescue operation. This would be of probative value if the state intends to prove that Miss Black's hours-long delay in reporting the boy's disappearance to Perry Cohen's parents, and her failure to report the overdue vessel to the authorities in a timely manner may have diminished the likelihood of the boys being rescued safely. The report reads, former State Representative Irving Schlossberg, who requested the investigation, tells People that he agrees with the FDLE's decision to withhold charges. Now retired, he says he'll ask his daughter, State Representative Emily Schlossberg, to consider drafting legislation to improve investigation of missing at sea cases. I'm going to recommend key legislation mandating that the FDLE, rather than the FWC, investigate all cases of children missing at sea, he says, noting that the agency has far greater resources for adequately addressing such cases. Austin and Perry remain listed in the National Database for Missing and Exploited Children, and investigators say they'll continue to investigate any new leads. Meanwhile, both families operate foundations that carry their sons' names, and focus on water safety education and legislation. The Perry J. Cohen Wetlands Laboratory, an outdoor classroom concept, is planned for Jupiter Community High School, where Perry would have graduated in 2019. 6. Shauna Fowler. An autopsy on a Powell Butte woman whose remains were found by a rancher in his field nearly 3 weeks after she disappeared determined Shauna Fowler died accidentally of hypothermia, with no signs of foul play, Crook County authorities said Thursday, adding that she headed in the opposite direction searchers had thought. We received a call from a rancher who is out in the Powell Butte area, and said that he found a deceased person in his field, said Crook County Undersheriff John Gautney, on Wednesday. The sheriff's office assumed it was Fowler. We went off the information we had during the investigation. Things she was wearing when she left, scars, tattoos, things like that, Godney said. An autopsy by the state medical examiner confirmed Fowler's identity on Thursday. She was found on a ranch off of Powell Butte Highway near Southwest Riggs Road, outside the area where authorities had searched for Fowler. Now, the small community of Powell Butte is in shock. I feel really bad for her family. It's a small town, and it's scary, said Powell Butte resident Marissa Berninger. Things like that don't happen in Central Oregon, usually, said Redmond resident Jordan Meeks. It's hitting pretty close to home, said Powell Butte resident David Frank. I'm really hurting for the mom and dad of this girl. Here is the full statement issued late Thursday by Undersheriff John Godney. On April 16, 2015, an autopsy was performed on the body that had previously been tentatively identified as Shauna Fowler. At this time the identity has been confirmed to be that of 27-year Shauna Fowler, who went missing 3 weeks ago today. The state medical examiner has ruled the death as accidental, caused by hypothermia, brought on by overexposure to the elements. There was no evidence of any foul play and there is no danger to the public in the area where Shauna went missing. The Crook County Sheriff's Office wants to convey their heartfelt condolences to Shauna's mother and other family members. We realize this has been the most difficult time for them with the unknown. As to Shauna's whereabouts and circumstances of her disappearance, the family has wished to have privacy during this time, and at the same time has worked closely with the investigators and search teams. Here is what we know at this time. Shauna went missing from her residence during the evening hours of March 26, 2015. The sheriff's office was contacted on March 27, 2015, and reported her missing, after family and friends searched the area and were unsuccessful in locating her. Over the next 2 weeks the Crook County Search and Rescue Unit used SAR K-9s, horseback searchers, ATV-mounted searchers, and ground searchers to search the area directly around the location last seen and the adjacent areas. The Civil Air Patrol also did an aerial search, as did the Oregon State Police. Deschutes County Search and Rescue assisted on a full-day search and the Tri-County Major Incident Team has been involved assisting the Sheriff's Office by providing investigators to follow up on leads that came in. The clues as to the direction that Shauna went after leaving the residence indicated that she traveled in an easterly direction from the house. The SAR effort was concentrated in that direction and to the south of the point last seen. The neighborhood was canvassed by family and friends as well as law enforcement. Residents were asked to check their properties and call if anything was discovered. After 2 full weeks of searching the area with minimal clues, it was determined on Friday, April 10, 2015, that based on the conclusion of the search and investigative teams, the local ground effort for search and rescue was terminated until new clues came in. The missing person investigation was still in full effect and was following up on investigative leads in attempt to locate Shauna. On Wednesday, a local Powell Butte rancher called to report that he had located a deceased female in his pasture. The location where Shauna was located was west of Powell Butte Highway near SW Riggs Road. This is about 1.5 miles west of point last seen and was outside the designated search area, as the search was concentrated east and south of the point last seen. In conclusion, I want to thank all the volunteers who assisted in this search mission. There were numerous search and rescue volunteers who left their personal lives behind to assist in trying to locate Shauna. I want to thank the members of the Major Incident Team who spent many hours away from their own duties to assist us with this investigation. Without them we would have been totally overwhelmed with the influx of leads to follow up on. I want to thank the family and friends who offered information and assisted with contacting the Powell Butte community, and to thank the public for your assistance with calling and tips and understanding when we asked to search your property. Again, it is with sadness that I have to report this as the outcome of the past 3 weeks' investigation. Our sympathy goes out to all who are suffering because of this loss. The 27-year-old woman vanished March 26 from the rural community, leaving behind all of her belongings and prompting extensive search efforts. Fowler's mother said she had left everything behind at the travel trailer where she lived. Her purse, cell phone, car and dogs among them. 7. Jade Humble. Paula Humble will do anything to find her missing daughter, Jade. As the parent of a missing 22-year-old, She's had to figure out the whole process on her own. There's no written manual. Crime Feed spoke with Paula by phone this week, and she gave us an inside look to her heartbreaking process. Her voice cracking, Paula shared a small part of her life with Crime Feed. Jade Humble grew up in Norwood, Ohio, and is Paula's only child. I raised her by myself. My dad helped me a lot. He was older but he helped me a lot, Paula says. Paula married a man at one point, but they were only together for a couple of years before divorcing. As for Jade, she excelled in school. She was very bright. She was an A/B honor roll student her whole life. Jade aspired to finish high school, become an artist and go to college. Unfortunately, Jade would never have that chance. Anything she put her mind to, she would have done it, Paula says. It was Jade's senior year of school when Paula began to notice her daughter hanging out with the wrong crowd. I didn't think it was nothing bad. I just figured it was something she tried, referring to drugs. Paula remembers, Jade was finishing school and working a cashier at UDF, United Dairy Farmer. Paula recalls, I would go and we would have an ice cream. But there was one day in particular when she went to the UDF, and Paula wasn't there. She hadn't shown up for work that day. One of the employees said they had to fire Jade for not showing up. That moment was the beginning of the end, Paula recalls. Soon after, Paula learned her daughter was struggling with heroin. Over those couple of years, Jade would stay with her mom on and off because she didn't have anywhere else to go. At one point Jade did go to a sober living house, but she didn't stay long. Jade was a great girl. The drugs, yeah, they whacked her out, but she had a really good heart, Paula continues. The last time Paula said she heard from her daughter was December 4, 2014. Jade called her mom from a friend's number. Paula said during this time Jade was still on heroin, and it was bad. At this time, Jade didn't have a car or a phone, but she always found a way to call. She still loved her mom and grandfather. During this last call, Jade told her mom everything was okay. A couple of weeks later, someone called Paula and asked if Paula had talked to Jade. She had vanished into thin air. Paula immediately began to call around, questioning people to find out where her daughter was, but she kept hitting dead ends. She turned to the Cincinnati police. They knew Jade's lifestyle and they knew Jade was doing drugs, Paula says. As the days turned to months, and months now to more than a year, Paula said she is afraid of what could have happened to Jade and is also afraid of never finding her only child. When Crime Feed reached out to the lead detective in the case, he wouldn't comment because it's an active investigation. Paula has started a Facebook page to find her daughter. With more than 3,000 followers, she's heard all kinds of scary and alarming stories. First thing I heard was she was buried in a shallow grave, Paula said. The next message, she was buried behind some school. Even on the day we spoke, a man had contacted Paula earlier in the day and, according to Paula, said, they burned her up. They told me they burned her up and her body would never be found. Without hesitation, Paula sent the man's information to police. Paula believes something horrible happened to Jade, because her grandfather died in December, and there is no way Jade would have chosen to stay away from his memorial service. Paula said she posted the memorial information on Jade's Facebook page hoping that she would see the message and come home, but she didn't. To anyone who might know where Jade is, Paula begs, please make an anonymous call. I mean, come on, my heart is broken, I'm grieving here. I just want to know what happened to my daughter. You do not know what I am going through day and night. It's torture. The not knowing is mental torture. If you know anything about Jade's case, please contact the Cincinnati police or contact Crime Stoppers anonymously. Paula ended our conversation by saying, I don't care what she did. But if something bad happened, she didn't deserve that. 8. Samantha Koenig, the tearful father of missing Alaska teenager Samantha Koenig abducted by an armed man said that she filed a protective order against a man in November but was too scared to follow it through. She filed for a restraining order against a person she barely knew and was too afraid to go through with it in court, James Koenig told UpNews.com. He said he could not elaborate on the situation or the man's identity, but he did not believe that his daughter felt that she was in danger, or that someone wanted to hurt her before she disappeared. When asked if he had any theories about what may have happened to her daughter, he said, I do, but I cannot divulge. In November, Samantha Koenig filed a protective order, but she did not show up for a hearing and the order was never issued. Samantha Koenig, 18, was last seen Wednesday evening on surveillance video that showed her leaving the Common Grounds espresso stand with an armed man, who police said was wearing a dark hooded sweatshirt and possibly a baseball cap. All of the coffee stand's cash was also missing. The reward for a Koenig more than tripled over the weekend to $41,000. The Anchorage Police Department has received criticism for not releasing the surveillance tape, but police spokesman Lieutenant Dave Parker said they won't do it because there's no way this video is going to further the investigation. Parker said the tape has evidentiary qualities that make it valuable to investigators, but that it would not be useful to release it because the alleged kidnapper's face is not visible. He said the key to the video for investigators is Koenig's response to the perpetrator. You can clearly see that she is being taken against her will. You can see her reaction, Parker said. Police will not disclose what type of weapon the abductor had, but said the man is armed. We know they left the area on foot. Did he have a car parked somewhere? Did he go to a friend's house? Parker said. Investigators are absolutely beating the boards in the investigation and they are working very hard. Parker said that numerous detective units are working hard on the case as tips come in, but they do not have any hard leads that they could share. She's still gone. We don't know where she went, Parker said. At this time, they have not released the name or description of anyone who is a person of interest. Koenig's father James Koenig has his own theories, but is similarly tight-lipped. I have suspicions, but that's all they are, Koenig said. He said he did not wish to name any people that may, in fact, be innocent. Samantha Koenig had been working at the Common Grounds espresso stand for about a month, and her father said she was really enjoying it. She's a sweetheart. She's got the biggest heart and she has genuine love and care for people. She befriends people so easily, Koenig said through tears. Everyone that meets her, they call her their best friend. That's just her personality. She's funny and she loves life. Koenig is the fourth of 6 children. She has 3 sisters and 2 brothers who James Koenig said are working hard to search for Samantha. No one is holding up, he said. They're doing all they can. They're handing out flyers and talking to whoever will listen. Koenig is 5'5" and weighs about 140 pounds. She has brown hair and eyes. I want her to come home and I want the people who did this to go away forever, Koenig said.